Welcome back, Hey, I can hear myself this time. Welcome back. This is what I sound like. I don't just move my mouth and not talk, though. Sometimes you probably wish I did. I'm Aggro, because I couldn't introduce myself last time. This is Toli. He's the one who did all the talking. And we're ready for picks and bans. Thank you for sticking with us through some technical difficulties. But Dignitas versus Burrito, as you mentioned, Toli, Zyrhoes is a guy in this mid lane for Dignitas that has just been dominant. He's kind of, for me, in my mind, the driving force behind this Dignitas roster.
I would have to absolutely agree with you, because the way Dignitas formulate their strategy for picks and bans is trying to first pick 4 Zyrhoes. They've been often first picking the Morrigan in the previous split, but now it's the fall split. It's the most important split. The question remains if Dignitas wants to keep this reoccurring theme of first picking for Zyrhoes.
Well, they are in that first pick position, and with their bans of Scotty and Odin, Burrito, they ban out Camazotz, looking at QvoFred in that jungle role for Dignitas, and the RTO, which can go solo, can go support, it can go a lot of different places, as can Erlang Shen. So probably not the first pick for Zyrhoes here, but could be for Qvo, could be for Variety, could even be for Trix.
Absolutely. Trixtank has been playing warrior supports every now and then before Season 2, Season 1. Oh, yeah. And Erlang Shen is just so powerful with the way his kit has been redesigned to allow him to get that Fatalis effect in the Mink form.
An early Jing pick here for Burrito and Terra. Going to be paired with that likely in the duo lane. Ravana, the pick for Dignitas, that's probably going to be going to QvoFred in the jungle. And remember, Erlang Shen, everyone kind of credits Aurora for bringing him into the support role. And while Aurora saw the most success, it was Trixtank who was the first to play Erlang Shen in that support role, so it could be going back to it. And there's the pick for Zyrhoes. Wasn't first, but still before the second ban phase, the Morrigan, one of his signatures.
And I think it's because the Terra was instantly locked in the first, second position for Burrito. Morrigan can transform into any god, and whenever you have a Terra's Blessing for your own side, now you don't necessarily have to really worry about peels from other players. You could peel for yourself as long as you go into the Terra. You get multiple dashes, and you get that Terra's Blessing, get out of jail free card.
Look, there's a long list of reasons why Terra's the top support right now in Smite. Terra's Blessing, #1 on that list. So if you can have that for your own team and still have other things in the support role, you're going to be doing pretty well. AMC the ban. That's a sentence that I never thought I'd really say. Soul, the other pick to ban away for Dignitas and Burrito. They're looking at that support role, assuming that Erlang Shen's going to be for Variety with the Geb and Ares. Johnny on this Kuang, though. Burrito found success with it in week #1. He went off against Elevate. Is Dignitas ready for this pick in the jungle?
It's a risky pick if you don't go off in the early game, because Dignitas is a team that's not going to let any breathing room occur. If they get an advantage, they're just going to run away with it in terms of Gold Fury, Portal Demons, Fire Giants. So if Johnny doesn't get these early picks, stack up his passive to get that extra lifesteal, extra power, it's going to be more difficult for Burrito, especially since they locked in the Wukong, who has received a little bit of nerfs in his cooldowns.
That's true. Not going to be quite as dominant as he once was, potentially. And Vulcan, the last selection here for Burrito. So Burrito's composition, cut and dry. We've got our mid lane Vulcan. I mean, you've got a magical jungler, which is a little bit different, but all in all, they are late game oriented in my mind. Terra and Wukong are going to do pretty good work in the early to mid stages, but you're looking at Vulcan, Jing, Kuang, all of those really need some farm and items in order to get to their peak performance. Dignitas has some late game on their side as well, with Zyrhoes on the Morrigan, but the right side of the map, where most of the early game contention happens, is early game for Dignitas between Erlang Shen and Ravana.
I'm a little worried for Burrito, honestly, because Johnny picking the Kuang, what you have to do is you look for an opportunity in one of the lanes that has out-clear potential. But I'm looking at all 3 lane matchups, and maybe the Vulcan could look for some out-clear potential here, but then you're looking at QvoFred that's going to be diving Johnny and not allow him to freely farm.
Dignitas, definitely.
We're going to be seeing a little bit of an aggressive positioning from Dignitas, though. QvoFred and Variety not allowing Johnny to start off his own buff, which is a good idea, because level 1 Kuang is not the strongest god in the game.
But it is QvoFred. As you mentioned, this is where the pressure can really happen on the right-hand side of the map. But it's going to be Trixtank and Zyrhoes dual laning in that mid role.
We're going to see Trixtank trying to get something off, not allowing FaraKrik to get in position to line up that shot. And because of this aggressive positioning, Zyrhoes gets off his abilities first, allowing Dignitas just to get the pressure that they need, and then probably collapse on this speed buff. Taking away speed buff from an Kuang, you're stripping away the very important gold and experience, and then taking away the mobility
I like what Zyrhoes and Trix are doing here, moving to the fire elementals to make sure that if Burrito does want to fight on that invade, they can be close enough. Plus, they're securing as much farm as they can together, both hitting level 2 off that, and now they're going to try and contest this blue buff invade. Burrito gets it successfully. Dzoni does manage to water illusion away, and Sibi, I mean, he's still a warrior, no chance for Zyrhoes and Trix to find that kill. Meanwhile, for the Burrito mid lane duo of FaraKrik and Fusify, they went towards those left side mid harpies, so a little bit more farm for Dignitas in that exchange, because both sides lost some mid lane minions.
And Dignitas have been definitely practicing this time in and time out. They purposely went, like you said, to the elementals just to possibly contest the blue and or the speed buff, not allowing any speed buff for Dzoni, but securing Sibi's blue is really good for someone calling that needs that mana to spam the cudgel and the Master's Will.
Trixtank did manage to steal away one of those right side mid harpies, setting FaraKrik and Fusify a little bit farther back, did sacrifice that mid wave and allowed Zyrhoes to farm that up all by himself. This is one of the things that as we've gotten deeper into Season 4, we've seen more of from these teams, is experimentation on where the support is going to start. We've seen support start in the solo lane and junglers start in the duo lane. This seems to be one of the more popular setups, though. Having your hunter be all alone on that left-hand side and allowing your support to keep your mid laners safe through the early stages while the jungle holds your solo laner's hand.
It also depends on the matchup that the hunter has. Arkkyl forced the beads off of a nice little rotation from Fusify. The crowd control early game from Terra is just a little too much to handle, especially with the mini wave right there. But going back to the hunter matchup, you really want to leave Kespainify alone because he's playing that Jing way. He has that passive to get back to the lane fairly quickly, and not to mention, he started off for that Death's Toll instead of the Bluestone Pendant, having more health sustain.
Kind of surprised he didn't go for the Cursed Gauntlet start. That seems to be pretty popular for Jingweis these days because you're not worried about the lack of sustain that you get from that Cursed Gauntlet start. It allows you to back and finish off Devourer's Gauntlets way faster than any other hunter would be able to. And Kespainify's not even going to rush those Devo gloves, instead going for the boots option.
The thing is, the mobility is just so important in the hunter role because you can look for any sort of outplay potential. Trixtank going to eat a little bit of poke for his lazy back, but nothing too much to worry about if you're a Team Dignitas fan. But the hunter versus hunter matchup, sure, you could try to rush for Devo gloves, trying to get that physical power spike, and trying to go for that lifesteal, but if you get the mobility, now you're going to be able to out-rotate your opposition for getting the oracles, mid-harpies, back-harpies, and it's all about that gold per minute when you're looking at Hunter v Hunter.
And Kespainify on this Jing Wei, paired with the Terra. Fusify may not spend a lot of time on that left-hand side of the map, but when he does, you already got a little glimpse of the combos that can happen. The guaranteed route into the knock-up, into the stun, that's a CC combination that's very potent. As Qvo's going in 2v1 onto Dzoni, Quvo has the level advantage, and this is what you wanted to see, Toli, Warrior invading the Kuang speed.
It's also very important that Fusify is only level 4. Terra's Blessing is not available for Burrito to defend their own buffs here. Dignitas just calculating every little thing with these invades.
Trixtank gonna go up into the ultimate speed buff, did get secured, but Burrito may need to be wary here. Fusify still level 4, as you mentioned, and Trix is looking for him, but can't find the stun as Fusify dropped the monolith. Nice water illusion there to get Dzoni out of danger. Variety gonna put a lot of pressure onto Sibi on this right-hand side and force Sibi up into the ultimate. Variety throughout that 9 turns blessing as well.
Ulti for ulti on the right-hand side. Calculated tactical play from Dignitas. Unfortunately lacking in the execution. Not able to find a kill around this 4-minute mark is not something that Team Dignitas were very relying on getting a kill here. And QvoFred is actually left with a 1v1 against Dzoni, but with the cooldowns down, Trixtank could look to exploit this.
Quvo did use his overhead kick in that mid lane. That's the main source of damage avoidance for Robin, but Quvo did pick up purification beads, really trying to be wary of that Kuang execute. Plus, as a whole, Burrito's composition has plenty of CC. Every member of Burrito has a form of hard CC in their kit, except for the Kuang.
It's all about stopping any sort of momentum that Dzoni can dish out. Purification beads on Ravana is not a very common thing we see in jungle, whether it's SPL or ranked, but playing rather safe than sorry. QvoFred knows when to switch it up. And when we're speaking of QvoFred, we're usually speaking about how aggressive he is normally. So for him to just take a step back and go for the defensive option just shows the kind of veteranship that he brings to his team.
And it shows the respect that Dzoni has earned on this Kuang. As I mentioned, week 1, he decimated Elevate with it. And this has been a character that Dzoni, this is what we usually see from these Challenger Cup players who start to break into the SPL. Dzoni comes in during Season 4 with this Burrito team and performs really, really well with Thor in relegations. That seems to be the god where, you know, you're playing up against these new teams, and Tola, you can kind of speak to this. When you're up against a new team as a veteran SPL team, you don't really know what they play. You're just banning things that you think they might be good at. It's when those players start to have really impressive performances on certain gods that you take note. And Kuang has certainly been added to that list for Dzoni.
Right-hand side, a little bit of a rotation, trying to shut down variety. We were speaking about how aggressive QvoFred is. You can't have one without the other. These double warrior combinations between Ravana and Erlang, Shen, Dignitas are really trying to lean on the solo lane, and because of that, they have this 2-level lead for variety.
Arkkyl gonna jump in onto Kespainify, but it's why the Jing Wei pick works out so well here. Hu Yi, a lot of his boxing potential in lane comes from marking and then dive bombing to get that guaranteed short knockup, which guarantees the ricochet. But against Jing Wei, agility gets her out of danger. Sibi in danger on the right-hand side. Very low underneath his tower, but he will escape. Terra's Blessing used as the mid lane FaraKrik was in some trouble as well. Dzoni started to come in and help out, but Sibi was able to escape, and that's a quick win for Burrito. Not so much a win maybe, but not a loss.
It's not a loss, but it's going to be a huge advantage for variety. You technically get half a kill by forcing Sibi out into his own fountain. He's going to miss out on a decent amount of golden experience under his own tower.
Does get back in time for this speed buff invade, but can't defend it. QvoFred secures another buff, and variety's looking for this blue once more. Sibi up into the ultimate as Kuvo zones 3 all by himself. Blue buff does go down for Team Dignitas as Trixtank going to use an ultimate of his own, waiting for Sibi to come down. Zyrhoes pushes forward, stun ready to go, and Sibi gets erased by QvoFred. First blood, but Dzoni right back with the execution onto Trixtank. QvoFred, or Zyrhoes in some trouble. He transforms into Terra to get his team out of danger and give himself some more tankiness. Excellent transformation choices. Variety into the back line. FaraKrik's low.
Doesn't have an ultimate to get out, but he's very safe. He's sitting at level 10. Doesn't have the physical protections, but meanwhile, with this rotation from Kespainify, left-hand side, Arkkyl free farming, getting closer and closer to those Devourer's gauntlets.
But unlike other hunters, Kespainify is not going to lose quite as much because he can just back and be ready in the left side for this next wave, whereas every other hunter would have lost an entire wave for that rotation. So I like the fact that Kespainify's on the right there.
He definitely needed to make that rotation. There's just too much loss happening for Burrito on the solo side. We're seeing Sibi getting constantly bullied 1v1 against variety, not because of the player variety, but because of the god matchup. Erlang Shen is such a difficult matchup for a lot of solo lane gods simply because of his in-hands. You pop your one steroid, you go into that Mink form, now you got the Fatalis effect with increased attack speed, and if, hey, all of a sudden they're starting to get away, well, guess what? You got a root, and you got your taunt just to poke him out some more.
And Sibi on the Sun Wukong doesn't have any innate sustain in that kit outside of the ultimate, and in variety on this Erlang Shen, as you mentioned, so good at that poke damage. Will take some poke of his own from Sibi and takes an extra tower shot that he might not have meant to take. So he has to use his ultimate to get that heal, but with that double proc of the Death Toll, thanks to his K9 buddy, variety shouldn't stay low for too long.
And this is the classic matchup between Death's Toll Warrior solo laner versus the Bluestone Warrior. In team fights, once it gets to around level 15 or higher, Sibi's going to start making a huge impact once he gets some cooldown reduction, whether it's Breastplate of Valor, Gladiator Shield, or both. But in the meantime, it's just a variety show this whole early game.
Trixtank messed with the opposition a little bit, but he was all by himself 1v3, confident enough to not panic as Kuvo gonna put some good damage onto FaraKrik and immune the root from Fusify. A lot of 1v3s by Dignitas, not really getting anything out of them, but just kind of instilling that we aren't scared of you sort of feel. And as a player, you're not really used to being ran at when you have 3 and they only have 1. It can kind of unsettle you a little bit.
It's about the experience advantage. 2-level advantage for QvoFred, 3-level advantage for variety. If there was a team fight, it was going to be around Burrito's tier 1 tower. And Team Dignitas want to take this team fight, trying to bait them outside of their own tower, because Team Dignitas know how to kite so well that if they ever get low enough, that they're just going to back off, and if Burrito wants to get a kill, they're going to have to commit.
Dzoni has to use his ultimate defensively. Purification beads as well. Zyrhoes transforms into the Terra and pops the ultimate because Kuvo's going in the mid lane. He picks up Dzoni. Trixtank forced to jump away because Sibi made the rotation in All the meanwhile, Variety, he's on the speed buff, objective-minded as always for Dignitas. They get the speed, they get the kill. Trix might be in some trouble here as he gets rooted and stunned. Sibi will pick up that kill, but even he's forced to use his ultimate.
Taking something out of nothing. Sibi cutting off the option for Trixtank to help with the speed buff invade. Now, granted, that was a great non-rotation from Variety because the teamfight was over. We saw how low Dzoni was. It was a free kill and a free tower dive for QvoFred. However, Trixtank and Zyrhoes didn't need to assist in that speed buff invade. Sloppy rotation from Dignitas.
But they get the kill onto Dzoni and both buffs on the right-hand side. Sibi hasn't been able to secure his own blue yet this game. He's had one, and it was in a counter invade as Dignitas was taking his. He took Dignitas's. Every other blue buff has been stolen by Variety and the rest of Dig. Speed buff as well. Dzoni was able to get one of his own, but every other one has gotten teamed into Dignitas's way. If you are struggling, Fusify might be struggling right now because he got locked down between Kuvo and Arkkyl. No one from Burrito in the neighborhood to help. If you're struggling against Kuang, this is the textbook blueprint on how to deal with him. Invade his side of the map with a pressure jungler.
Not allowing him to get those important stacks. Already having one stack out of 3, so we're seeing Dignitas play around that, taking away a lot of experience and a lot of gold, and really doing their homework. They saw what Dzoni was able to do last week against Elevate, so they're stripping away the MVP player's potential to go off in this game.
And you can kind of bait teams into making picks like that, where you expect, for me, Dignitas' roster expected Dzoni to pick out Kuang and drafted that Erlang Shen first because of it.
And speaking of a lot of baiting plays around that goal here, we saw Fusify get baited into rooting multiple members from Dignitas just to ensure Burrito from securing those oracles. Around the 11-minute mark, that's not a support play that you need to be doing. You don't sacrifice your life for oracles. You sacrifice your life for Gold Fury instead.
Kuvo gets rooted and knocked up from FaraKrik, but it's level 13. Fusify takes a big chunk of damage from that stun from Zyrhoes and stun from Trixtank as well. Now Fusify is going to get caught out, and Dzoni and FaraKrik just get caught watching there. Is that a matter of his team should have stepped up to help, or was Fusify just out of position? Now Gold Fury being postured around by Team Dignitas. Trixtank still in that ultimate form, but not enough to commit because FaraKrik still had that Vulcan ultimate.
We're seeing another rotation from Dignitas on the left-hand side. We're not seeing too much action from Arkkyl versus Kespainify, like you were talking about earlier, how the Hunter versus Hunter is just pure farm, trying to get those Devourer Gauntlet stacks. Almost fully finished is Arkkyl, 8 away, whereas Kespainify still needs quite a bit.
Fusify uses the ultimate to try and get into position. Dzoni needs it to get out of there as he's 1 HP. There's the water illusion. Kuvo's looking for him. Not much longer on that stealth, but Dzoni will get away. Kuvo to use the Aegis as Sibi comes crashing down and sets up Kespainify. Sibi the one to get credit for that one, and worth a lot of golden experience because of how far ahead he was. It's a big kill on the Kuvo. Now Trixtank in a bad spot because he doesn't have his ultimate available, but a well-timed dash. Dzoni's still looking for it, but it was all a bait. Zyrhoes and Arkkyl, they're getting that tier 1 tower in mid.
Dignitas are just spreading Burrito out so thin. Whenever there's any action on one side of the map, Dignitas are getting something in return on the other side. Tier 1 was left exposed for quite a long time because of how aggressive QvoFred was. He has so many levels on Dzoni that despite him having a defensive mindset earlier on, he's kind of feeling himself now.
A thin Burrito is a bad Burrito, and Dignitas knows that. Portal Demon falling very low. 5 members here. It does get secured by FaraKrik's ultimate, but here comes Variety. He needs level 15. Nice knock up there from Sibi, but Variety wants to continue the chase, knowing Sibi doesn't have an ultimate. Doesn't matter how many members are here. Variety's looking for this one, but good peel from Fusify gets him out of there. Now Variety might be in a bad spot. Dzoni has the execute, and Variety already used his beads. He used his ultimate as well. Variety will get gobbled up by Dzoni, and a little bit of greed Dzoni makes him pay. But again, it's Burrito spread out. They get an execute on the right-hand side, sure, but Dig just take the Gold Fury instead.
It's like you were mentioning earlier about how certain teams are taking other lower experienced or lesser performing teams in the SPL for granted, and this is the clear case where QvoFred dove about 2 minutes ago, and then Variety wanted to find a kill so badly onto Sibi that he was willing to use his purification beads on the slow from Wukong, and that was just too aggressive.
And look at the build that Variety's gone for too. Mass Immune, 3rd item. Not a lot of health there in that build. Has 50 power from that sword though, so will be doing the damage, and we saw him put it out on a Sibi. So Dzoni puts a little bit of damage onto Qvo. This time it was Burrito's turn to get the invade going. They steal away Qvo's speed.
He doesn't have too much health in his build, but he has that Spirit Stroke. Nice rotation from Arkkyl, finding the stun onto Dzoni, and finally making an impact in this game.
Arkkyl level 17, now 2-0. Zyrhoes. Yeah. Zyrhoes uses his ultimate and Arkyl's ultimate, but no kills.
So I'm not sure if he accidentally misclicked trying to go into Terra, or if he was just kind of trying to show off like, hey, Arkkyl, you did that? Well, guess what I could do?
Yeah.
And then as he dropped the stuns, did you see him turn around and be like, okay, none of you saw that.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Arkkyl, why'd you ult there? That was a bad play. Come on, man. Either way, Dignitas should survive without that Morrigan ultimate for a little bit because of how much CDR Zyrhoes has in that build. Santa times 10%. You got some from your boots and your Spear of Desolation as well. So it won't be too long until that Changeling ultimate is up and ready to go again. And in either way, Dignitas is controlling this game pretty handily. 4,000 gold in the lead. And once Arkkyl starts making these rotations, it's going to be a big impact because he's level 18. He's way ahead of that level a minute sort of pace that you really want your hunter to be on.
And unfortunately for Kespainify, he just had to make that early rotation, which put him slightly behind in terms of farming capabilities. He got his tier 1 tower chipped down ever so slightly, which is not that big of a deal. Probably Arkkyl could have committed to that earlier on, but it's all about the rotation and how you make the impact. The first rotation Arkkyl made, he got the tier 1 tower. The second one he made, he finally got a kill, and then the rest of Dignitas capitalized with a Gold Fury.
Trix misses the hammer onto Sibi, so he's going to be able to get out of danger on that right-hand side, though. Don't really know how much danger he was actually in, even if that hammer connects. Zyrhoes gets rooted. Dzoni get a blink in. Aegis from Zyrhoes, and Qvo right back in with that Mystic Rush. Over the top comes the Vulcan ultimate, but it's not there. But Dzoni's going to finish off that passive. Third execute for him. Arkkyl arrives in the mid lane. Qvo pushes up because of it. Dzoni almost hits him with that ultimate, but FaraKrik and the rest of Burrito continue to push forward. Trixtank does arrive now in the mid lane. He's going to go up and transform into that ultimate, whereas Fusify got left all alone on the backside.
Both support's taking a lot of damage, but it's Fusify trying to kite around his own wall. QvoFred getting stunned, forced to go into the beads. He uses the overhead kick, but it's just not enough. Dzoni thinking about diving this, going to force out the Aegis, whereas Sibi's going to commit to the tier 1 tower dive.
Arkyl's really low as well. Sibi gets one, Dzoni the other. Trixtank, that's the clone. He's going to be able to get out of danger, but Fusify gets a little too greedy. Variety cleans him up. FaraKrik was looking for the kill on a Trixtank. Now he's got to use his Aegis to get away. Beads as well. Variety trying to chase down the enemy mid laner. One auto attack will do it, and he will confirm it. Dzoni and Sibi looking for Variety. Big crits from Kespainify, who comes in and finds that kill. Back and forth. Burrito end up on top. They still have a healthy Kespainify here to help this mid lane siege.
Burrito are not rolling over and playing dead. They took advantage of Zyrhoes without his ultimate to be able to transform into Terra. That's a very easy pick on a Morrigan, especially when you're running a Terra that has such a huge AoE root. It's almost impossible to miss on a god that has no natural escape.
So Burrito now take the lead in kills. They cut that gold gap down a little bit, down to about 2,000, a little over. Experience difference was up above 7,000, now only 3,000. So that's a big swing in Burrito's favor. 4,000 gold, 2,000 or 4,000 experience, 2,000 gold. And now they're in the lead in kills.
Now with the 2-level advantage that QvoFred had, 3-level advantage that Variety had, it's nullified. It's basically even between Sibi and Dzoni catching back up. We're seeing FaraKrik making an impact, trying to get to the late game as well.
Sibi gets stunned out by Arkkyl, who has that chin size, no crit build coming from the Dignitas Hunter. Even the lead for Arkkyl was 2 levels, and Kespainify even that one up as well. Zyrhoes takes a big chunk from Dzoni, and he finds that kill on his Zyrhoes without much worry. Trix does a good job of juking out, and Arkkyl drops the Suns as a zoning mechanism, and it does force Burrito back. But Burrito have the 4v5. Sibi up into the ultimate, trying to zone away the opposition. Stunned out is Dzoni. Fusify still looking to push forward, but they're looking for Arkkyl.
It's a 5-on-4 for Burrito. They need to look for more plays if they want to control this game. The They're forcing Dignitas back into their own tower, but Sibi, he's left alone. No ultimate. The rest of Burrito backing off, and Dignitas are certainly going to look for this portal demon.
You can see where Burrito has the potential. You see that they've got the skills to compete at this level, and it's things like that they just have to clean up if they want to continue to rise. Fusify in the front line. Qvo going to put big damage onto it. Arkkyl has that sprint popped, and Johnny's right there, but Terra's Blessing comes out from Zyrhoes, who transformed when he respawned. FaraKrik low. Arkkyl is handling 2 all by himself. Johnny's still on the run. Fusify comes around the backside, but now he's going to get caught out. Variety with that kill, and Zyrhoes has returned to this fight. Now it's 5 members from Dignitas on this portal demon, and no one from Burrito is going to try and steal it.
Every time Burrito find a pick onto Zyrhoes, it's because he doesn't have relics or any ultimate. Now they falter for too long. Once Zyrhoes respawned, he had his ultimate, went into the Terra's Blessing. It was very easy for Dignitas to capitalize. Also, the fact that Fusify stayed with half health. This is not something that you want to fight over. Portal Demon is good, sure, but if you give up too many members at the 21-minute mark, now you're going to give up not only Portal Demon, but Fire Giant.
Variety has to use the ultimate. Kespainify swinging pretty hard at this stage of the game, especially on a Variety who doesn't have a lot of protections, as we mentioned. Gold Fury getting burned very, very quickly. Arkkyl drops the ultimate, and it goes Team Dignitas' way. Variety ripped it out of the hands of Burrito with just a pin. Do you like that call from Burrito to full commit?
I don't mind it necessarily. It was basically rolling a die. I was giving Burrito it's slightly more than 50% favor, and they didn't have to commit any bodies too deep into the trenches of Team Dignitas. Safe, calculated play, unfortunate roll for Burrito.
So Dignitas extends their lead once more. Sibi does secure that blue buff despite the steal attempt from Trix, so at least they get one objective, though I think if you ask Burrito, they'd rather have the Gold Fury. 9-9 in kills, down about 5,000 gold once more because of that Gold Fury steal, and now Dignitas is grouping on the right-hand side. Double stuns onto Sibi. Root off the mark, though, had the Ox form either way, so it doesn't really matter. Johnny pushes forward, but that's not where you want the Kuang to be. Gotta be coming around the backside and trying to sneakily execute someone, not just running at them with the dragons out.
Sibi's just getting poked out so much here. Stun after stun. He doesn't have too much magical defense right now, sitting at only tier 2 Urchin. So he doesn't also have that much health in his kit as he elected for Gladiator Shield into that Breastplate of Valor, having a lot of cooldown to spam his kit, but just not enough to survive if he's the one that gets engaged on.
Arkkyl and Kespainify on the way, but Dignitas claim 500 gold off that tower. Qvo looking for the ultimate over the wall. Burrito, they're going to try and engage in a 3-man ultimate from QvoFred. Sibi falling low. That FaraKrik ultimate not doing a lot of work for Burrito. Around the back comes Zyrhoes. Big stun onto Johnny. Sprint trying to get away. Kespainify won't be able to airstrike as Qvo puts him in the ground. Trix continuing that chase as the rest of his team cleans up Fusify on the backside. Trix will rejoin the Dignitas team as they look to chase down Sibi, but the blink forward from Johnny, and that was ill-advised. Qvo says, not today, my friend. 12 kills now for Dignitas. They go towards the Fire Giant with 3 dead for Burrito, only Sibi and FaraKrik here, and neither has their ultimate.
I like the play from Johnny. He risked it for the biscuit, trying to get the execute threshold for Trixtank, recognizing that that ultimate was down, no purification beads on the dwarf, and that could have been an execute, getting that more stacks. So QvoFred actually going to pick off Sibi as the rest of his team secures the Fire Giant at the 24-minute mark.
That's not a good look for Burrito. Now 5 members with Fire Giant buff for Team Dignitas. Qvo, sitting at level 20, has regained that 3-level lead that he once had over Johnny. Johnny going for the demonic grip on the Kuang. What do you think about that?
You don't really have time to just sit there and use your in-hands as an Kuang. You want to get in there, do your damage, and get
might have been got out here, but a nice 180 root onto Kespainify, who didn't have the relics to continue the chase, so he's going to be able to escape. I think I see the idea here for Johnny that you need a lot of pen against how many frontliners Team Dignitas has on their roster, even with Qvo building entirely assassin-like, nothing tanky about that Ravana build. You want to... Demonic Grip gives incredible penetration if you can get those auto attacks off, but as you mentioned, I don't know if he even has the opportunity to.
He needs to find a blink opportunity potentially onto somebody that's just caught off guard. If Dignitas use their escapes, if Arkkyl uses his dive bomb, if Zyrhoes uses his relics and ultimate, then sure, dive the backline with blink, use that demonic grip to your heart's content. But in the meantime, there's no opportunity for Burrito to realistically get off those in-hands for Dzoni.
Left side, tier 1 tower already gone. Dignitas going to claim the second as well. 2,000 gold between the two towers, 1,500 for the second. Sibi, not the right call there. Qvo going to find that kill without much worry. Even if he would have survived for a moment, the rest of the team just isn't even close to follow up on that. So Dignitas, they get to continue their siege now. Phoenix, the call is Qvo immediately into that backline. Dzoni looking for variety. Lots of auto attacks onto him, so that demonic grip's stacked up. But look at the focus onto the Kuang in the late game. FaraKrik's ultimate half in the wall, not going to make an impact once more. And Dignitas walk away with a Phoenix under their belt, now looking for the tier 2 at mid.
Unfortunately for Sibi, he was not with his team where he needed to be. Whenever there's an opposition with Fire Giant and they're so far ahead, you just defend the Phoenixes. You give up your tier 2 towers, exactly the way Burrito are doing for tier 2 mid. Nice little wall from Fusify, trying to absorb some of these in-hands, and even a nice little meatball preventing Arkkyl from getting off that DPS, but it's just going to be inevitable now, forced into that Aegis, but with the rest of his teammates, Dignitas have to retreat, still with Fire Giant belt around their waist for a minute and 20 seconds.
Trix going to throw a parting stun onto Dzoni as Dignitas retreats towards the portal demon. Speed buff is about to respawn, but Dignitas is fairly healthy here. Fusify is poked out.
The stun.
Beautiful stun. Interrupts the 72 transformation. Sibi will get up into the somersault cloud in time. But a nicely forced ultimate by Dig. I like what Burrito is doing here on the left side of the map, though, totally. Getting this gold Fury. Dignitas, they don't really need the gold. Burrito definitely does, though.
They're going to get this gold Fury, their first one of the game. They're going to cut the deficit ever so slightly below that 11,000 mark, but it's into 5 digits. Whenever you're this far behind, whether it's 27 minutes or 40 minutes into the game, there's just going to be so much of an advantage for Dignitas, whether it's the relics upgraded, more 5th and 6th slotted items, or even more sentry wards to position themselves around Fire Giant, trying to catch any slipping members from Burrito.
And we were talking about Variety's build earlier. No worries about his tankiness now. He's got that Hide of the Urchin. 3 stacks, so not incredibly potent, but enough on that Hide of the Urchin to make it worth purchasing. The Wing Blade now, a Silver Talisman, plenty of HP and protections, and he's going to find that taunt onto Sibi, who just gets obliterated, no problems, from QvoFred and the rest of the squad. Zero's going to transform into the Vulcan and try and show FaraKrik how it's done with that Vulcan ultimate, but his ult did just about as much, not a lot, only hitting the tank. Trixtank tanking up this Phoenix as Qvo putting huge damage on a Kespainify. He's looking for it all by himself. Shell comes out, and Burrito's Hunter will escape, but did get the second Phoenix of the game, this one on the right side.
Kespainify counting his lucky stars that he was able to get out of that one. The Shell came in so clutch from his duo lane partner Fusify, and without that, that Hunter would have been dead. And if Kespainify dies there, the Dignitas keep the pressure on, going for potentially their 3rd Phoenix, and if they can find another pick, potentially the game.
Dignitas probably not too upset that they aren't able to do that, because they can just buy all they want, spend the gold that they've earned, and go towards the Fire Giant, which is due to respawn in about 12 seconds. Arkkyl had the chin size in the mid game, then went crit. He went Wind Demon Deathbringer. Zyrhoes. Fusify actually misses the root, but Zyrhoes still has to use beads and Aegis as Johnny's looking to chase him down, looking for the kill, but Johnny can't quite find it. Look at those crits. That's why Arkkyl sold it. One of those big damage numbers. FaraKrik stole red, but Qvo is going to steal his life. One more shot should do it, but a beautiful stun from Fusify may have gotten FaraKrik out, and indeed it has. Unless Qvo wants to be really greedy and chase this down, but...
Oh, he will. Absolutely. This is QvoFred we're talking about here. He has some mobility. He has that ultimate, and he has the life of FaraKrik. 2 dead members from Burrito. 5 stand strong from Dignitas. They don't have the Fire Giant buff, but the rest of their team is securing it, while the 2 warriors are trying to look for more picks.
Sibi lurking by the Fire Giant, but Zero spots him out, and Sibi forced to retreat. Qvo does have 2 movement speed items between the Heartseeker and the Mass Immune, so it makes sense to try and chase down that kill. As Dignitas look to finish off game 1, we're just shy of 30 minutes. Dig has been in control all game long.
And left side Phoenix is going to go down yet again. Fusify almost taking a spill here as QvoFred is forcing him out. He's playing his natural bully position and role the way he really likes to. Did play a little sloppy in the mid game, but Dignitas are cleaning things up in the lane, really taking advantage of Sibi, either forcing him in the ulti or waiting about 30 seconds once he comes down afterwards, and then using Variety's ultimate, using that knockup, and picking him off again.
Sibi has just been punished all game long. That ultimate from FaraKrik was really close, but just missed onto the stunned Zyrhoes, who didn't have any relics available. Suns come down from Arkkyl as Trixtank looking for Dzoni on the left-hand side. Dignitas all pile on. Qvo gets credit for Fusify. Only FaraKrik and Kespainify left. And Dignitas, as you mentioned, a little bit sloppy in that mid game. And again, most teams probably wouldn't call them out on that, but this is the perceived best team in the world right now. They get the W, but wasn't as clean as many would have expected.
I'm still really happy for Dignitas, the way they were able to take advantage of Sibi in the late game and the early game. The mid game could have been cleaner, like you mentioned before. It was like level 16-16 on both Dzoni and Sibi catching up to their counterparts, but they couldn't really get anything in return and catch up. Because of that Gold Fury steal from Dignitas, that could have been like huge turning point if Burrito got it.
Absolutely, and you can kind of see it in that game where Dignitas is, okay, we're taking this serious. We're going to come out, we're going to beat them, and they're just crushing them, and they let off the gas a little bit, and then Dzoni, Sibi get even, and Dignitas is like, all right, we got to turn it up again, and they do, and then it's a clean win from there.
It just seems that Dignitas were trying to force a little bit too much, and then they let the teamfights get out of their control. The teamfight started to last for about a minute straight, and that kind of a teamfight duration allows for Dzoni to look for opportunities onto Zyrhoes multiple times, and he quickly finished his stacks on that Kuang.
Well, either